Hello, sir. Welcome back to Micah's College.
Thank you very much.
Sir, I'm extremely thankful to you for accepting this invitation. After the first episode, not only the views but the feedback that we are getting is outstanding. I must say there is a lot of pressure on us to do the second episode, and a lot of questions have been sent by the viewers. So we have tried to collate all that, and we are doing this second episode. I hope we'll be able to answer all those questions, or rather get answers from you for all those questions which the viewers have sent. Maybe start with the first.
Sure. It's my pleasure. I'll answer. I'll try my level best to answer all your questions.
Thank you, sir. So the first question goes like this. In the first episode, the focus was on what one should do to become a good teacher. So the first question of the second episode is something like this. Everybody wants to know who are those people, rather teachers, behind you who inspired you to be the great teacher you are today.
Yeah, that's what, as I said in my earlier video also, my school, there is a first place where I personified myself by seeing these great teachers, especially my school in Sadvidya, what I was saying earlier. Teachers like T.V. Jayanti and Srimati C.S. Sundaramma, CSS, what you call. And she was a very good teacher. She was the one who was teaching me science then. Even the experiments what she was doing in our classrooms, we could not do it even in high school. So if the physics, as I said in the last episode, literally all experiments were prepared and explained, demonstrated. It may be evaporation, it may be filtration, even to the extent of distillation, which many colleges and the schools are not showing. They may write the diagram, they may show a chart, but we had a wonderful teacher, wonderful opportunity to learn those and experience in our own hands. That is what the beauty of our teaching. And she was a great teacher in science. And in the 6th standard, 7th standard, going to that level, of course then we are not doing anything, we are simply listening and learning from her. After going to the other colleges and the other levels, then we understood how well she was teaching, how meticulously she was teaching, and what was her vision. That is a great thing. So we just can't forget the teachings of CSS. Of course, she is in Mysuru, she is retired and she is doing fine. That is one part. That apart, I have been in association with many teachers, as I said, one Professor K. Prasanna Kumar. So the quality of teaching, the level of understanding, he used to teach me. Though he was a professor in St. Joseph's College of Education, he was the founder, principal of the St. Joseph's College in Mysore, Jayalakshmipuram, and I was fortunate enough to associate with him and learn from him. Though my subjects were different, I am into commerce and he was into education, and he was the one who made me to teach the way in which the students are interested, inclined. He was into teaching methodology, teaching psychology, and all those things he had given the tips. And whatever the things that he had taught me then, and that has made me to mold myself into this field. So it was a great inspirator. It was a great inspiration for me. He was a great motivator. And I know three of his sons were from IIT Madras. All of them were the President Gold Medalists then. So you can imagine the experience, how much he was having and how much he could share. I had a rapport with him. Similarly, his wife, Srimati T. Nagaraja, she was a professor of physics. So my streams are different. I am into commerce and they are into science. But the content, the method of delivery, the communication, the spirits, the anticipation, the expectation of the student community, how effective we should in our delivery. See, these are all the pioneer aspects what I learned from them, especially Professor K. Prasanna Kumar. I throughout my career, throughout my teaching, throughout my life, we should remember those things. So, and similarly, motivation at my home. So, I know a lot of ambition, expectation that I should become something. So, those aspects molded me. So, I was observing what they're expecting from me and how I should act, how I should behave, how I should react. What are the qualities that I must imbibe? So, they are the things which I was watching and I was learning. And many things, one need not be a good teacher. Teacher in the sense with the qualification and other things. There are people who can motivate with their rich experience, rich expectations, rich knowledge, rich skills. So those things I was witnessing in my day-to-day life, and that was really great. Similarly, as I said in earlier videos, when I went to the PG program, so second year MCOM, I had an opportunity first time to interact with my own guide, Professor B.R. Ananthan. The very first day after listening to his marketing lecture, at the end of the class itself, I decided I must join PhD under his guidance. So that was the beauty of the motivation, inspiration, and the desire. There was a fire to learn something from those teachers. That was really great opportunity I could get from my teachers, teaching community.
Teachers today don't make big money. In fact, we see our students bagging offers with pay packages greater than what a teacher makes. The question is, why should today somebody become a teacher?
See, now you are talking today's context. Imagine 20 years ago, when till our former Prime Minister and former Finance Minister Manmohan Singh, if we had not enhanced and constituted these finance commissions, perhaps even today the professors and the teachers of today would not have even reached this level. This is the greatest package what we are getting. So then in late 90s, you just visualize our own student, because he was a professor of economics. He has realized our own students are earning so much and our teachers are getting paltry sum. Then it was a senior most professor in a university 20 years ago was not even getting 15,000 rupees, 12,000 rupees was the maximum salary he was getting. When we started our teaching, perhaps earning 3,000 was a great amount, great salary. So those lines, those days, the salary package was very minimal, I can say, but the teachers were satisfied, because their satisfaction level was reaching towards teaching and learning, always in the interest of the student community. So that was very much interesting. But later, when the salary packages, everything has gone up along with the other things. So there was a huge gap between the teacher's salary and our own student's salary. Now, to a greater extent, the salary gap is narrowed down. So, as you know very well, as I've been saying, that we must have the passion for teaching, we must have the inclination, the interest, then only we can become the good teachers, and we are not after money. The teachers need not be after money. If they are after money, they have better business to do, not in teaching profession. So teaching for development, teaching for learning, teaching for motivating, teaching for seeing somebody's life ahead of 20 years from now. So we are not here for making money, certainly not. And at the same time, we are equally satisfied with the salary what we are getting, especially with the UGC scales. Perhaps some government private colleges may not be paying so much. In the initial stages, every teacher has to undergo this process till he get established himself. Even when as I said, we have started with 3,000 rupees 20 years ago. But those days, there was no much inflation. If we are getting 5,000 rupees, 3,000 to 5,000, that was a decent salary. So therefore, salary is not at all the criteria to measure our own fitness into the teaching profession. So as long as you are not open in your mindset for teaching, you have to dedicate yourself. If there is no dedication, you should not step into this profession. This is not something like hit and run case. Rather, you should not feel I did not get any job anywhere, so it should not be the final resort. It should not be the last resort. Unfortunately, many youngsters they are thinking, I'm not getting any better job. Let me go and teach so that there will be no much burden. There is no risk. There is no tension. There is no target these days, they are saying. There is a target. You have to fix up your own target. Today, your students are somewhere and they should be elsewhere, as I said earlier also. So, you have to elevate them, for which you have to dedicate. You have to work hard, It's not just working hard and delivering. You have to understand the rhythm. You have to understand their pulse, mindset. Then you have to teach. Then you will definitely, you will be a successful teacher. Otherwise, if it is only for money, that success won't last for longer. So the success always should come from a highway itself. There are shortcut methods, they are byways. And if you are achieving success through these byways, that will not last for a longer period. So going in a highway takes a lot of time. It's quite difficult, quite tough. But once you are experienced, well-versed in driving this highways, certainly that will give a lot of satisfaction and that will last forever. That success would last forever. So therefore, we must have the milestone in our purview where we should reach. That should be our target. If there is no milestone, you can't do anything.
Sir, this is another interesting question.
Yeah.
Many times when we interact with parents whose children are in grade 10, and when we ask them this question, what would their ward be doing after grade 10? They would tell, if my son or daughter scores first class and above, say distinction, they would take science. Anything below that, they would opt commerce. So commerce, most of the parents treat it as second class course. What is your take on this? Who should actually take commerce course?
See, it is a notion of the parents. As you said, if you extend the question, my son, if he gets distinction, first class, science, good marks in science, and he will join science stream. Otherwise, commerce or arts or something like that, that is really the notion of the parent. So first of all, the parent must be well versed the academic standards and the level of the students. What is his capacity, caliber, and whether he is fit for science stream. Just because in 9th standard, 10th standard he is scoring some good marks, he is going for a science. No, certainly not. So a parent especially should focus on this skills and the ability of the ward or the children. Then only they can decide. These days, okay, let us see after getting the results. That should not be the answer. And when they are doing in schools 8th, 9th, 10th itself, the parents as well as the teacher, they will have an interaction. They will know, they will tell the parents and where your student or the son or the daughter is in. So by then only it is possible. It's not a miracle overnight my son will get 90%, 85%. Those people who are aspiring for 95% definitely end up with 90 plus only. So it is known. So accidentally getting 80%, 90% is only a few percentage, less than 5%, not more than 5%. So therefore, those I can say somebody who is very shrewd, very interesting in science, maths, and they continue science and maths. Why they want to study something which is not known to them? Because in Indian scenario, till recently, there was no introduction of commerce and accounting or business studies papers, except in international syllabus like IGCSE and all. In grade 9 only they opt commerce studies, business studies, and accounting and all. So they can branch out there. But here till 10th standard state syllabus as well as CBSE syllabus, it is mandatory for them to go for science and arts and other things. So they will excel in one area. If a student is not familiar with the science or the maths at the high school level itself, definitely they don't want to continue with that level of understanding. So there is a scope for the parent as well as the children to opt out for commerce students. So then second preference, because they are not tried commerce, they go for commerce. But there are parents right from their children's high school level, they know what the children are, what their son or daughter to be. Suppose he is a chartered accountant, he is doing very good in chartered accountancy. Same thing, he expects his son to be a CA or he is a CS, he expects his son or daughter to be CS, and they will give the option to the parents should give the option. Those who are educated in these lines, definitely they give the option orientation at home, and they will pick it up from the parents. And many times you can see, for instance, I was told that there is a commercial manager, commercial in JK, she Sudhashri by name, today I can quote her name. She is a CA, FCA, ACS and CMA, and she could see that her son could complete CA, and obviously my expectation, if I am a CA or a CS or CMA, my son or daughter should to be in my own field so that I can guide properly. So if that unless and until the son or the daughter is inclined towards science, she can't direct or coach anything related to science education. She was into this field and she directed and she guided. So therefore 50% of the parents should be aware that where their son or the daughter stands, where they are going to be, in which area they are going to be successful. So this accidental chance factor, that is very, very minimal. So therefore their second choice is becoming commerce. So those people who are getting focused on commerce education, maybe only 5% at 8th, 9th and 10th. So there are outstanding meritorious students who are even opting for commerce. Yes. You just see the Sriram College, what is the cutoff percentage? Lady Sriram College, 99% you don't get the seat. So that is also there. So we can't generalize, but the trend what we are witnessing, especially in Karnataka and Mysore, Bangalore and all. So my son is getting 90%, so science, whether he likes it or not, they'll push it. So therefore, it is not a second choice. Since they have not tried at the high school level, that is, they are migrating to different option, different combination, because they failed in this one. So therefore, that is only an option and not the second preference.
Sir, this brings me to the next question, somewhat related to what we discussed so far. Once the celebrated Kannada editor Vishweshwara Bhatt was asked a question. If he had not been a journalist, what is it that he would have done in life? So his answer was nice. He had told he would have become a bad journalist. So I asked the same question to you. If you weren't a teacher, what is it that you would have done?
I never ever given a thought for this, because I was continuing my journey in my education. As I said, in the BCom level itself, I decided to be a teacher. So I'm just deviating from the question. If at all you want to become a good teacher in your life, you need not do extra things. You have seen right from your school and college and PUC, whatever the level, you have seen some bad teachers. Bad teachers in the sense, at that level, they were not convincing you. You are not happy with the mechanism or the methods of the delivery or something. You are not enjoying their teaching. To that extent, you can call that as a bad teaching. So if at all you want to become a good teacher, always you remember your bad teacher and try to avoid the mistakes committed by him. So never ever try to commit those blunders which your bad teacher was doing. Obviously, automatically, you will become the good teacher. Because as a student, you experienced your bad teacher, how bad he was teaching, what was the thing which you are not liking. So if you don't repeat that, obviously as a human being, same thing is applicable to other side now. Earlier you were in this side, now you are on the other side. So you will become a good teacher. I think if I had not joined teaching, definitely I don't think, as I said, I have not visualized what I would have been. So I never ever given any second thought for my profession. So even after completing MCom, the very first thing, my teacher, then as I said, my guide Professor B.N. Ananthan and the then chairman Professor even Lakshman, they sent me to one college in Arsikere, first grade college, before announcement of the results. So therefore, I never ever gave any room for me to think about what I should do if I don't get a chance in teaching.
Great. Nice, sir. Sir, we'll go to the next question. We know University of Mysore is the product of two great people's vision. One is, of course, His Highness Nalvadi Krishnaraj Odiyar, and second is Sir M.B., who was the Diwan at that time. Even before the setting up of the university, Maharaja's College was operating, and later university was set up. Then came Manasagangothri, and all the master degree courses started. To begin with, predominantly the focus was on literature and humanities. Then other streams got added, and today we have a 100+ year-old university functioning with more than 2,000 people working, and thousands of people graduating at both undergraduate and at the post-graduation level, and a lot of people engaged in research. Could you please tell us about the genesis and evolution of commerce education in Mysuru University?
Yeah, those days, as you said rightly, though Mysore University is pioneer, they were into arts, music, Sanskrit education, ancient scripts and other things. So Maharaja's College was started for that purpose, and similarly Maharani's College was started in those days. And to cater the science requirement, the advancements of the science, the Mysore University started Yuvaraja's College. Rather, Yuvaraja's College was offering science stream. Similarly, Maharani Science College was started. So imagine, even when I was a student of commerce, when I was looking for a BCom course, Maharaja College was not having commerce education. So only there was a BBM stream then in Maharaja's College. BBM was started long back. So gradually, our, a lot of invention, advancement took place in the industry and commerce, in the area of industry and commerce. So there was a mad rush for this BBM program. Then it was BBM program, and the allied subjects and commerce education came into the forefront. So you can't imagine the current situation. The science colleges, the age-old science colleges who established good name and fame in those days, they are running out of students. So they can't even have 50 students in first, second, third year put together. Many science colleges, good old science colleges, they have closed it, and they introduced the commerce sections. I can't name them right now. So these colleges are surviving because of the commerce education, because they are establishing BBA programs now. So industry expansion, the scope and the modernization has taken place, and the Bangalore has become gradually the Silicon Valley of India and then industrial hub of South India, and all these jobs they opened up. And this, especially MNC culture, has come in, and the third wave is already started. Earlier, after graduating from India, people used to go abroad and they're working there. And because of the advancement and advent of MNCs, people started coming to India and establish. And when the MNCs have opened up their offices, corporates and giants, and have come into the picture, and they started catering the needs of our students, especially the commerce. So that is the place in the early 2000s, soon after LPG, there was a huge growth in commerce education. So the commerce fraternity, the commerce teachers, the colleges, universities, they started framing the syllabus based on these needs. And there was, it was sold like hotcakes. And all commerce students started absorbing in industry. So this course has become a job facilitator and a job provider. As a result, these natural sciences, they have lost the demand. Even though the computer programming, computer science, engineering, BSc computer science, MSc was there, they are also doing the program for business houses. So definitely the sustainability of the business houses, lies with the application and the adaptability of the technology. So then the huge demand started, and all colleges, they have started commerce education way back in 1996, 1995, 1996. When I was doing my masters as well, UG as well as PG, there's only 5 commerce colleges in Mysuru. Whereas in 1996 itself, all of a sudden, in 1 year, 6 new colleges have come up with BCom and BBM, especially BBM. So then, since then, this is going higher and higher. So that is the beauty. In many government colleges, there were no commerce education then. So all these started because of the MNC culture, because of the third wave, fourth wave which is happening with the multinationalism, many corporate expansion, the growth, all these made a scope for commerce education. So commerce education definitely will survive as long as the commerce and industry is alive. So they will be catering the needs for the industry.
Right, sir. Sir, you were talking about computer science getting introduced and a lot of students going towards it. Today in the whole world, we see people talking about big data, cloud computing, especially after the advent of social media sites like Facebook and Google and all these things. Should the commerce education integrate coding, big data, cloud computing, all these things into commerce education to keep up with the trend, or should we continue with the traditional trend of teaching accounting and finance and taxation and other things?
See, as long as commerce education is there, this traditional teaching will continue. But the traditional teaching will continue with the modernization approach. So we are teaching accounting. There cannot be any business without accounting. There cannot be any BCom or BBA program or MBA program without accounting, without taxation, without finance. So all these things will be there forever because they are the foundation. So with this foundation, we can keep on altering. So additional technology, techniques should be blended and injected as and when the need is arised. So now there is a need for accounting also. We can't keep on writing debit and credit entries on the blackboard. We have to introduce computerized accounting. We have to introduce all these things which are essential. They are vital, essential and desirable. So as long as the course requires those things, we have to introduce them. So similarly, the tally. Now when Peachtree was introduced, they were amazing. In commerce education, you will take 5 long years to make them understand the ratio, the cash flow statement, fund flow statement, something. But you are well versed with Tally or Peachtree or any other accounting, the latest invention of accounting, in a fraction of a minute, they are capable of getting the results. Maybe the ratio, they are capable of evaluating the ratios, analyzing the ratio, anything, interpreting the cash flow, funds flow, trend analysis. So it is possible only with the blending of this technology into the accounting. So it may be the projections, it may be the artificial intelligence, what you are talking about. So as and when the need arises, it has to be injected and upgraded. So we can't say, traditional, I'll teach only in the black and white method. So you go there and work and learn. It's impossible. So what is the industrial requirement? We have to cater the requirement. So we have to add those things. Then only there will be value addition for the commerce education. So definitely, as these things are coming forefront, we have to blend along with the requirement. That is the need of the hour. Need of the hour is inevitable. Otherwise, we will be out of the race. So, in the industry requirement is this only. So, the technology is implemented. You have to well verse with the technology. Maybe SAP. So, online trading. So, all these things they need the technology. So, inventory methods we are following. You can't go for a bin card system. So therefore, in every aspect of commerce education, there is a dire need for us to upgrade with the technology. So whatever is the prevailing in the market. So therefore, these are very, very essential and desirable and vital for the commerce education.
Right, sir. So let's take a lighter question. It's a written rule that a teacher shouldn't have personal favorites in the class. When a teacher enters the classroom, the all 40, 60 sitting there are same. But it so happens sometimes that few students get very close with the teachers. From teacher-student relationship, it becomes mostly friendship. And we have seen these friendships lasting for a lifetime. Are there any students in your career where the relationship has changed from students to friends?
I can give 100 instances like that. So I was not at all just a teacher. most of the time, knowingly or unknowingly, I was becoming the mentor of those students. So even today, I remember the batch of 1996 where I started teaching till 2024 or 23. So they're all associating with me. So I don't mind giving the instances, examples. So when I was teaching in the GSSS, the first batch student was Kiran. So he is, perhaps many Mysoreans are aware of G9 projects. So he is the one who studied there BBM and later MBA, and after working for some time in industry, and he branched out and he came out and he started his own business. So we are so proud that we are having that rapport friendship more than the student teacher relationship. Similarly, I can give one more. Mr. Sanat Kumar N. He is the Vice President of HDFC Bank. So he also studied in GSSS. So we were so close, and of course he finished his PhD with me. And he is much more than a friend, much more than a student. So the hundreds of such examples. So we need to have that relationship because we will understand the mindset. It's not just teaching 1 hour and coming out of the class and forgetting what I was teaching. So definitely not. What I taught to the class and the students, it should revolve in my mind, and whether I was teaching rightly or whether any mistakes I committed and how it is going to impact those students. So it's not just writing in the examination. So those teachings should convert their lifestyle as well. So these become wonderful business tycoons in Mysuru itself. So many industrialists are there in my list. So many are into construction, many are into finance, many are into textiles. So I perhaps it might be one of my characters, I can say. They will somehow or the other, they will be in close contact with me. I will be associated with them. And much more than the student-teacher relationship, we'll elevate ourselves to greater heights for their success. So I've been witnessing this growth tremendously from my student community rather. So many of my own students, they are the professors. So for instance, my first candidate happens to be A.N. Vijay Kumar. He is working as a professor in IIPM, Indian Institute of Plantation Management. So we used to enjoy the teaching relationship. But now he's also on par with me. He's also a professor, likely to be the director of one of the central funded institutions. So therefore, this should be there for the progress and development and the betterment of the student community. And they will be following us. So when we are the leaders, when we are the masters, and they ask for everything, and perhaps we'll be directing in those days when they were students. At one point of time, they will become the pioneers and the leaders in their area, and they are experts. Similarly, one with Srinidhi. Mr. Srinidhi was also a student of the same college. He is the chief of Karnataka in S Bank. So many are into banking operations, teaching profession. Many of my hundreds of my students are into teaching. They are excelling. So therefore, it is possible to have such relationship out of the classroom also, not just 1 hour business in the class. So that continuous progression we should monitor with a good spirit and the interest in the academic environment. So that will definitely gives a lot of satisfaction, because we are satisfied when our students are progressing. They'll become our part and parcel in our life. So they'll become much more than our family members. So therefore, it should be there, it is possible, and that relationship should be there with all the teachers.
Nice, sir. Thank you. It was a wonderful answer. Sir, this brings me to the next question. You deal with a lot of youngsters on a day in, day out basis. How optimistic are you when it comes to their capabilities?
Yeah, they are the power of this nation. Youngsters are the power of the nation, but we have to harness their capacity to the fullest extent. So we have to catch hold of them. Catch them young, is what the saying given by our former President of India. So when they are young, you have to mold them. You have to give all the possible things to motivate them. So you can train them. So once it is possible, it is in your hands. So when you catch them young, and they should become tailor-made products. So you can become the architects of those lives, those individuals, provided you train them properly, you chop them properly. You have to design what is this caliber of these individuals. You have to chisel out many things. They are raw materials, So once the raw material is given to us, depends on the manufacturer's skill and ability to convert that raw material into finished product. Otherwise, it will become a defective product. So our youth, you have to hold them, catch them, train them, motivate them, inspire them. It is possible for you to excel with that. So you should we need smart individuals. So every corporate world, they look for smart people. Smart means not physical smartness. So they should be the strategic thinkers. You have to inculcate those thinking skills, inject thinking skills. They will become strategists, strategic decision makers. And those individuals or the youths must have measurable goals. And they should also oriented with attainable goals. So strategists having measurable goals with attainable goals and realistic in nature and the timing. So SMART. So strategist, measurable goals, attainable goals, realistic in nature, and the timing where you are channelizing their energy. It's all energy. So if you don't make use of the power, it's like a cell phone. If you charge, you can use it for some time. If you don't use the phone and the battery will automatically diffuse. So therefore, they are full of energy, and orient them properly and cache that orientation and cache their skills, ability, so motivation. This is the power of this nation. So as long as we are not doing in this path, in this way, it is quite tough. So therefore, you have to channelize them to achieve the goals or the vision of the nation. Otherwise, they'll become burden on this country. So they are the ones who are the facilitators for this country. So we have to create ample opportunity for them to work. Working atmosphere should be created, which you are not doing to a greater extent. So that you can see that they are no more the jobless people. They should have some job. Whatever may be the skill they have, not necessarily the computer architects and the computer designers. It may be even the carpentry, it may be even the industry, it may be small, medium enterprising skills, entrepreneurial skills, it may be agripreneurship, it may be dairy industry, dairy farming. So these things should be trained and given to them. Then only there is future. Otherwise, they will become deadwoods.
Sir, this question comes from my students.
Okay.
It is a Gen Z question, and they expect a very honest answer from you. If you were to give an advice to yourself of 20-21 years of age, what would that advice be?
See, over a period of time, anybody would gain a huge experience. Perhaps at that point of age, one need not have that kind of exposure. So that is why we, with the Indian tradition, Indian scenario, we say we have to listen to the elders. So we have to listen to our parents, our teachers. And because our teachers have undergone all these phases and they accomplished something, and they can see what they would have been 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and they could see the rich experience what one is gained, irrespective of the age. The experience they will repeat, they will orient, they will educate. So therefore, education is because of the experience. Out of the experience, they gain this knowledge, and it is the bounded, respectful duty of every individual to listen to such people who are experienced.
Right, sir. Last question, again, a little personal touch is there to this question also. Children of teachers don't learn from their parents. I did not learn much from My parents, although they were teachers. What is the case in your family, sir?
So many times I heard from doctors, the medical doctors, they can't operate their own son or daughter, which you have seen and which you have heard, maybe true as well. So there should be a line of demarcation. I'm a teacher, so I have to teach my son or daughter. So that line we fail to draw most of the times. So the children, the son or the daughter, they will also take the advantage of that. We have failed to draw this line. So with love, affection, affinity, family, fine. But they also extend the same thing for the teaching and the education. So we are mixing everything. So we are miserably failing to teach our own ward, our own son. So therefore, it is possible, not that it is impossible, it is possible when we have to draw this line of segmentation. See, this is fine, all this as a parent I am doing this, but you have to learn from me, these are the aspects. When I am teaching the whole universe, whole class, whole world, whole community, why can't I teach? So it is possible, and most of the times the children, they don't understand the father's ability or mother's ability. So they will always be seeing from the affection. So in this affection, they encash that and they make us to miserably fail to teach them. This is what is happening. But as a teacher, as a father, I should take the responsibility of teaching my son or daughter. So we have to teach.
Sir, it was again a wonderful experience talking to you, and all the insights that you have shared with us would definitely come in handy to all the listeners. All of us once again extend a heartfelt gratitude to you for taking time out and recording the second episode.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.